Starting today, my sister and niece will be staying with us. We'll provide them with food, shelter, clothing, everything they need, my husband declared firmly. I blinked in surprise. What is he talking about? For the past month, my sister-in-law hadn't contributed a single penny toward household expenses. In fact, we had been the ones feeding her. Hold on a second, I said, unable to hide my frustration. You never mentioned we'd be living with them permanently. Ronan looked at me, clearly perplexed by my reaction. Lisa and her husband are divorced. She needs our support, and we're going to help her and live. We're even going to build a new house together and start fresh, as a family of 5, he said, as if it were a done deal. I stared at him, trying to process his words, but instead of confusion, a strange sense of clarity settled over me. It was as if the answer had been waiting inside me all along. My name is Raylan. I'm 32 years old, a housewife, and I've been married to Ronan for 7 years. Together we have a 5-year-old daughter, Mia. I believed we had a happy life as a family, but I was wrong. To my husband, it seemed that Lisa mattered more than Mia or me. One evening I heard a knock at the door and assumed it was Ronan. But when I opened it, I found Lisa and her daughter, Liv, standing there. Before I could react, Ronan strolled in behind them, announcing, "I'm home." "Welcome home," I said automatically, though confusion and irritation simmered beneath the surface. "Lisa, what are you doing here?" I asked cautiously. "I invited them," Ronan answered simply, as though that explained everything. Lisa smiled. "Hey Raylan. Long time no see." "Oh, hi," I responded, forcing a polite smile. Pulling my husband aside, I whispered, "What's going on? Why did you bring them here?" He looked annoyed. Lisa had some issues with her husband, so I told her she could stay with us. I stared at him, disbelief flooding through me. "You what?" "She needed help," he said with a shrug. "You didn't even ask me first." I hissed. "Why do I need permission to help my sister? You want me to abandon her? That's so heartless." I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. "I'm saying you should have discussed it with me. This isn't just your house. Mia and I live here too." Ronan waved me off. "Relax, it's not like they're staying forever." But deep down I knew better. My husband had always been overly attached to Lisa. When we were dating, he constantly spoke about her, calling her his pride and joy. At the time, I thought he was just a loving brother, but after we married, Lisa started intruding into our lives more and more. She'd come over unannounced, eat dinner with us, and even go shopping with Ronan like it was the most natural thing in the world. And he never once asked her to stop. Thankfully, when she got married, she stopped visiting as often. I had breathed a sigh of relief, thinking those days were behind us. But now it was happening all over again. With a sigh, I returned to the living room. Lisa had already made herself comfortable, sprawled across the couch, watching TV like she owned the place. Meanwhile, my husband was doting on her as usual. "Lisa, want some coffee?" Ronan offered cheerfully. "Yes, please," she replied without hesitation. "And Liv, I'll get you some orange juice." "Yay." Liv cheered. "There's pudding in the fridge too," Ronan added. Lisa clapped her hands. "Ooh, I love pudding." That was the last straw. "Hey," I snapped. "I bought those for Mia." "Raylan, don't be selfish. We should be generous with our guests," Ronan scolded. "You should learn to be more considerate." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Are you calling me selfish?" Mia, who had been silently watching, looked heartbroken as she realized her treat was gone. I bent down and gently took her hands. "Mia, let's go out for a bit. You can have whatever dessert you want." Her face lit up. "Really? Yay." I needed to clear my head, and Mia deserved better than this nonsense. At the restaurant, she happily dug into a parfait while I sipped my coffee, trying to think of a way to handle this situation. But before I could gather my thoughts, an all-too-familiar voice interrupted. "There you are," Ronan said, walking up to our table. I looked up, startled. "What?" "You could have at least made dinner for us before running off," he said accusingly. I stared at him in disbelief. "Excuse me." "I left your food on the table," I shot back. "You should have cooked for Lisa and Liv too," he argued. "Raylan, you're not acting like a proper housewife." I clenched my fists. "Are you kidding me?" But instead of listening, Ronan turned to Lisa. "Let's check out the menu." Lisa and Liv ordered a full meal, steak for Lisa and a kid's meal for Liv. My quiet outing with Mia had been hijacked. Then Liv piped up, "I want a parfait like Mia's." Lisa smirked. "I could go for dessert too." Without hesitation, Ronan ordered 2 more parfaits. Lisa and Liv ate happily, while my irritation boiled over. Asterisk, "You were eating pudding right before this," I muttered. Lisa shrugged. "That's why we're at a restaurant." When they finally finished, Lisa stretched. "Ah, I'm stuffed." "Me too," Liv added, rubbing her stomach. Lisa yawned. "I'm getting sleepy now." Ronan stood up. "All right, let's head home," he announced. Then, with a casual glance at me, he added, "Raylan, you take care of the bill." I froze. "What?" Before I could protest, he turned and walked out, leaving me speechless and holding the check. In the end, I had no choice but to cover my sister-in-law's meal from our household budget. Since my husband had ordered expensive dishes, the total came to nearly $50. If he hadn't insisted on bringing her along, we wouldn't have had to bear that extra cost. 2 weeks passed, yet my sister-in-law showed no intention of leaving. My husband was so focused on her and his niece that he barely acknowledged his own daughter. One night, with tears in her eyes, Mia asked me, "Mom, is Liv more important to Dad than me?" Her words shattered my heart. I held her close and tried to comfort her. "Sweetheart, Liv and her mom don't have a home right now, so your dad is just trying to help them. But that doesn't mean he loves you any less." I reassured her, even though I wasn't sure I believed it myself. I knew this couldn't go on, so I confronted my husband. "Mia is really hurt by how distant you've been. I'm not saying you shouldn't care for Liv, but shouldn't your own daughter be your priority?" Ronan let out an annoyed sigh. "Fine," he muttered. His tone made it sound like he was doing me a favor rather than acknowledging his own child's feelings. My frustration boiled over. "Why are you acting like this is such a chore? Are you really so reluctant to spend time with your own daughter?" Rolling his eyes, he snapped, "Why do you always nag?" I said I'll talk to Mia, but his promise was meaningless. He continued to dote on Liv while giving Mia only the bare minimum of attention. A month passed since Lisa and Liv moved in. Every couple of weeks I asked my husband, "When do they plan on leaving?" His answer was always the same, "I don't know yet." Meanwhile, Lisa and Liv did whatever they pleased, turning our small apartment into a mess. No matter how often I cleaned, it was impossible to keep up. We had originally chosen this apartment because it was affordable. We were saving up to build a house. But now, with Lisa and Liv around, the place felt cramped and chaotic. At first, everyone had their own room. One for me and Ronan, one for Mia. But when Lisa moved in, I was forced to share a room with Mia while Lisa took over mine. Just when I thought I had reached my breaking point, Ronan made a shocking announcement. From now on, he declared, we're going to support Lisa and Liv completely. We'll provide for their food, clothing, and everything they need. I was speechless. What is he saying? Lisa hadn't contributed a single cent toward expenses in the past month, yet he expected us to take full responsibility for them. Hold on, I said, unable to hide my anger. You never said we'd be living with them permanently. Lisa is divorced now. She and Liv need us, he insisted. We're going to build a new house and live together as a family of 5. I stared at him, struggling to comprehend his words. Then, without thinking, I blurted out, fine. Then I'm divorcing you. His eyes widened. Divorce? Yes, I said firmly. I refuse to stay married to someone who prioritizes his sister and niece over his own wife and child. You're just jealous, he scoffed. I let out a bitter laugh. Jealous? Don't make me laugh. I simply refuse to live in this situation any longer. Mia and I deserve better. His face twisted in anger. Don't insult my sister. I'm just stating facts. They've been living off of us like parasites. It's like taking care of an overgrown child and a spoiled one at the same time. That finally pushed him over the edge. That's enough. Fine. If you want a divorce, then go. I won't stop you. I crossed my arms and smirked, glad to hear it. Then, I pulled out a set of divorce papers from the drawer and handed them to him. I had already prepared them a few days earlier, knowing this moment would come. His face turned red with fury, but he grabbed the papers and filled them out on the spot. Without another word, I packed up our things, took Mia by the hand, and walked out of that suffocating apartment, back to my parents' house, where we were truly welcome. Later, when it came time to divide our assets, we met with a lawyer. For some reason, my ex-husband brought Lisa along. She smirked at me. I wanted to see your miserable face for myself. I just sighed. Let's get this over with. I turned to my ex. Since we saved this money together, we'll split it 50-50ths. Lisa scoffed. Oh, that's a lot. But whatever, I don't care. I still have the money I got from my divorce settlement. Good for you, I replied, uninterested. Are we done here? My ex-husband muttered, yeah, I guess so. Lisa grinned. Well, now my brother and I will build a new house and live comfortably with Liv. Meanwhile, you'll be stuck in some tiny, run-down apartment. Poor you. I tilted my head and smiled. Oh, you're still planning to build that house? Of course, she sneered. I shrugged. That's funny, because where exactly are you planning to build it? My ex-husband frowned. What do you mean? I sighed dramatically. Oh, I knew you forgot. You always had trouble remembering the important details. He looked at me in confusion. What are you talking about? That land we were going to build on? It belonged to my father. He was giving it to us. As in, me and Hugh. But now that we're divorced, that land is no longer yours. So, good luck building that house. Lisa's face drained of color. What? Brother, you promised me we'd have a free house. That's the only reason I divorced my husband. Well, I said with a smirk, that's not my problem. Ignoring her outraged shrieks, I turned to the lawyer. I think we're done here. Without looking back, I walked out with my lawyer, leaving my ex and his sister frozen in shock. Later, I heard that my ex-husband continued living in that cramped apartment with Lisa and Liv, but with 3 mouths to feed, plus the child support payments he owed me, his savings quickly drained. I also found out that Lisa's ex-husband had left her because she was a reckless spender. I had no doubt she would drain her brother's finances the same way. Recently, my ex even tried reaching out, asking if we could get back together. I didn't even bother responding. I just blocked him. As for me, I found a new job, and my parents are helping me raise Mia. I'm working hard as a single mom, and honestly, I've never been happier. Mia is adored by her grandparents, and she hasn't once asked to see her father since the divorce. I'll keep watching her grow and living happily with my family, the people who actually love us. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Stay tuned.